grab the fuel nozzle and get ready to fuel up on trends and strategies to grow your travel center business in this episode of The Truck Stops Here, brought to you by NATSO. Now, here's your host, Amy Toner.
Hello, and welcome to today's episode of The Truck Stop Here. I'm your host, Amy Toner, and I'm here with my co-host, Mr. Darren Schulte. Hi, Darren.
Hi, Amy. How are you today?
I'm good. You're listening to The Truck Stops Here, NATSO's podcast. NATSO is the National Trade Association for Truck Stops, and our mission is to advance the success of the industry. And this podcast is just one of the many ways we do that. Today, we have the pleasure of interviewing Jack Hogan, Director of Strategic Partnerships with Mashgin. Hi, Jack.
Hi, how's it going, Amy and Darren?
Good. Mashgin is a new member of NATSO, and you are a leader in cashierless checkout space. Your kiosks use computer vision to instantly ring up multiple items, which speeds it up by 400% or as much as 400%. At NATSO, we've been encouraging our members to embrace technology geared towards speed for years. And I think we can all agree that COVID has sped up that need. So that's why we asked you to come on the podcast to talk about your equipment. And, you guys are in this really important space for the industry right now as labor stresses and space in stores is especially important. So I thought you could set the scene and tell us just about it, cashierless checkouts in general, and specifically about your equipment because it's really special.
Yeah, so when we think of what we're building out here at Mashgin, we kind of fashion ourselves as more of a computer vision technology company. We believe that there is plenty of advancement coming down the pipeline in the checkout space. As you know, there's all sorts of different people entering the grocery checkout market. So at Mashgin, we've been around since 2013, where we went through Y Combinator, which is a tech accelerator here in Silicon Valley. And from there, we pretty much just put in the legwork to build out the product. So as you can tell, we've been working on our algorithms for about 7 years now. And our theory on checkout is that people generally don't want to download an app. They just want their checkout experience to be seamless and significantly faster. So that's kind of what we built out with our Mashgin Touchless checkout system. Basically it's a checkout kiosk on which you can take any item you want, barcode, non-barcode. You could put down a salad, you could put down a banana, you could put down an apple, and we'll use computers to see, just like humans can see, identify those items in under half a second. And then from there, you can seamlessly complete your transaction. I think we'll probably attach a video to this podcast so folks can actually see it in action. But that's kind of what the baseline of what it is we're doing over here at Mashgin. And then I notice you keep saying cashierless checkout. Our machines can be unmanned, but generally in the C-store space, because 70% of the items are coming from behind the counter, it requires some ID checking and things like that. We sort of see ourselves more as a product to augment the existing labor capacity of a store, right? Mm-hmm. If checkout can run somewhat on its own, then it really frees up staff to do more important things like keep the store cleanly, really work with customers, greet customers, make sure everyone has a good experience. And it's also opening up a huge opportunity for most of our clients, like our friends Delic out in Odessa, Texas. They were able to completely ramp up their food service side of the house, and it's made for an extremely successful launch with them.
Yeah, I know a lot of our members have said that just during COVID that they might have the same amount of staff, but they've been doing different things. So hopefully they're already thinking in that space.
Yeah, I would imagine that in these trying times, the fact that there's generally less travel, but also it's much harder to find folks to work. And the fact that our machine is completely touchless, right? You don't have to get,
right.
It's much safer for the cashier as well as the staff member and the shopper.
And Darren, you got to see it, right?
Yeah, not only did I get to see it, I got to use it in that Delk location. And what's really exciting for the travel center industry is, unlike the C-store industry, where the vast, as Jack mentioned, about 70% or so of the business is coming from behind the counter, travel centers, the vast majority of the inside sales are coming from the floor, for lack of better words, whether that be food service, apparel, gift, novelty, cookie, crackers, and so forth. So it really does give our members the opportunity to redeploy that labor, as Jack mentioned, as you mentioned, Amy. It's quite exciting. I can share with the listeners that I spent almost 45 minutes or close to an hour screwing around, and I call it screwing around because I was acting like a child. I was so excited, trying to trick the system. So I would put a Snickers bar on there, take it off, then get it charged, and it worked flawlessly. I got to the point where the person who was traveling with me, they finally came over and said, "Gentlemen, it's time kind of for you to leave this area." So, I mean, of course, we would step back and other customers want to use it. But it was absolutely fantastic, and it's really the future. And I would encourage any of our members, whether you're small or big, to at least reach out to these folks and take a look at it, because you will be able to redeploy labor. It will make the shopping experience frictionless. It's going to create a better experience, and the system works. That's all I can tell you. It works.
Let's talk about that speed of service part. I know you had said that it speeds it up as much as 400%. Is that what you guys see? That it makes it a lot faster for people to check out? It's so important in our industry to be fast.
Yeah, significantly. So if you think of a normal checkout interaction between yourself and a cashier, oftentimes they're looking around trying to find the barcode on the bottom of something, right? Mm-hmm. So that's adding time. Then there's people who are in front of you that are paying with cash. That's adding time, right? Cash is one of the slowest transactions out there. So our machine is currently cashless. We are evaluating some other options to add an autonomous cash component to it, just to make it a little easier for our locations where people are using a lot of cash. And so that's part one, right? We're significantly faster than a manned cashier. But if you think about the process of going to self-checkout, Amy, Darren, what's your guys' big supermarket chain where you live? Is it like a Safeway, Albertson? Where you guys shop?
Safeway and Harris Teeter are my go-tos.
Yeah. Okay. So let's take Safeway, for example. So their self-checkout, Amy. At the end of the thing, you go there, you have your groceries. All of a sudden, you get to your fruits and vegetables, right? And you're like, oh, man, this is going to take 10 minutes. So then you start scrolling through the screen on a traditional self-checkout, looking for banana, looking for apple. So we know for a fact that we're the fastest self-checkout, bar none, out there in the world, because there's none of that. You never have to dig through the system. You're never having to search for anything. You don't have to pick from the list. You don't have to bend down and flip over your giant water container to find the barcode. So that's where we're seeing such increased transaction speeds is across those two distinctions, right? Versus a cashier or versus what we call traditional self-check, where you're sitting there standing around hunting for the barcodes. And I can promise you that our machine will never, ever utter the words unnecessary item in the bagging area at you.
Jack, if I could say something, so we got a rib sandwich and a chicken sandwich, two completely different items. Put it on the area, and it knew the difference. It knew the difference between the rib sandwich and the chicken sandwich. It was absolutely amazing. And so, again, we put some potato salad, and then I think some jalapeno poppers, and we put different stuff on there, and it knew every single time. We didn't have to look it up. It knew exactly what those food items were. It was absolutely amazing.
You mentioned, Jack, that people are trying to put that your vendors want to allow for bigger items to be on the scan. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, that's something that we've been experiencing lately. So we cut our teeth in what we like to call the cafe industry. So a business dining sort of situation, right? Where everybody gets out for lunch from their desk at 11:30, and they all have to be fed by 1:00, right? So in a cafeteria style setting, people are usually just buying what they can carry in their hands. What we see in the C-store, I'm just using C-store as a relative term, as a store that people would shop in for any items they would need when they're on the road. We're starting to see the carts to get to be a little larger. Our machine does have a backup plan for that, right? You can do all of the items that you can fit on the 2 by 3 foot rectangle using computer vision, but we also give you the option if you need to say scan a 24 pallet of water, right? There's a little barcode scanner off to the right that you could use. It does slow the transaction down a bit, but this is our solution to make sure that we can expand past the size of the base of the machine. Hopefully everyone has a chance to take a look at the video or photos that we're going to attach so you can actually get a feel for it is with what we're talking about. Audio podcast is not really the best medium to have your mind blown by a computer vision software. So make sure you check it out, because the key piece here is vision. So it helps for you folks to also have vision of what it is we're doing.
So let's talk about layout ideas. What are the space requirements and where do you recommend people put them?
Well, so here's the thing. The machine can be put anywhere. We've had a ton of success by placing the machine on the counter. And why is that? Because people are used to checking out. They understand where the process of checkout takes place, where it exists, right? That is on the counter. We think this is our major advantage versus anyone who's trying to build a system where you just tap in with an app on your phone and then you wander around the store and you grab some stuff and then you leave. It's that no one really wants to add more apps to their phone, right? Do you guys want to download an app today for me, Amy and Darren?
No.
Yeah, that's what I thought. We've seen that over the last 10 years, the amount of apps on people's phone is actually going down because they have app fatigue. So essentially, we make it so that my 90-year-old grandmother can use the product very simply because she understands the concept that when she has her items, she walks towards the counter and puts them down, and then all of a sudden the machine tells her to pay. So it's kind of like a miraculous experience for that. So we really like to think that we can service any possible age group with our product operationally, right? And that comes from piggybacking off of areas in the store where traditional checkout would take place.
Do we get it all? What we talked about labor efficiencies a little bit. I know you said you can deploy labor to restock. I know that's really important in our industry.
Yeah, so the ability to have your staff free to do more important tasks like make sure the forecourt is going okay, make sure that everything is possibly stocked. Getting the food program bumped up is extremely important. I would say that that's pretty much the way that we're seeing our clients have such good success with the product, is that they're just able and willing to give their employees a little bit more leeway on what they spend their time doing, right? Normally that employee would have to be holding out a boat anchor right there behind the counter. But with Mashgin, they're going to see massively reduced lines, which will actually lead to your clients getting more revenue. And this is one of the reasons that we're growing so quickly, right? You're seeing a lot of companies pop up in this space. But these machines are not beta type phase machines, right? We've deployed these across over 100 plus organizations. We've done over 11 million transactions using computer vision. And when you check out at Mashgin, you will get your receipt right away. You guys know what's interesting about that?
No, what?
What?
Well, that just basically means that the transaction's been complete. So if you ever go to any other stores that are talking about computer vision and checkout, right, you got to be really careful to kind of think in your head, what are they doing here? How is it possible that they could possibly be checking out all these people at once just with computers? So one thing you'll notice from some of these locales is you'll actually get 5, 7, 8 minutes down the road before you get your receipt. So I can't speak as to what these folks are doing on the back end, but I know from the code that I've seen written, usually you need an action item to trigger receipt, right? Like transaction's over, boom, here's the receipt. So it's one thing to look out for whenever you're evaluating an AI computer vision company is how quickly do I get the receipt? Are these guys actually using completely computer vision, or are they using something else on the back end to help augment what they're seeing with the computers? Because I think that you all know that maybe these just walking out style stores, they may become a thing maybe in the 2030s. But I think for right now, Mashgin is in a really good position to bridge that period between now, where people understand how to check out, they just wish the lines weren't so long and it wasn't such a crummy experience, all the way to maybe 10 years in the future where the folks that are tracking people around stores are able to do it completely autonomously.
All right. How can folks reach out to Mashgin?
Plenty of ways. So my email is just jack@mashgin.com, and that's MASHGIN .com. And you can also go to our website, www.mashgin.com. You can also reach out to us through Darren, who's one of our close friends here, if you want to get basically a first-hand account of how our product works. And then if you do reach out to us, we have a really awesome virtual demo lab built out where you're essentially able to see 100% of how the machine works live. You can holler at me. You can tell me to put 20 items on and then watch what happens. It happens to me nearly every day.
Okay, before we leave, I'm going to ask you our fast fill. These are just wacky questions to send you out. Okay, what is your go-to on-the-road snack?
Ooh, well, being as I just did a deployment of about 70 machines in 20 days, it was Red Bull and a lot of Red Bull.
Okay.
Or Red Bull, I would want to admit.
If you're stuck at a truck stop in a snowstorm, how do you pass the time?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think that I would probably call my girlfriend.
Okay. Do you like to ride or drive?
Ride like motorcycles or be as a passenger?
But do you like to drive the cars or be the passenger? Yep.
Oh, I'd rather drive the car.
I think I know the answer to this. How do you like your truck stop coffee?
Hot.
You like it? Okay. I thought you were going to say you did Red Bull. Okay. And we're going to end with a controversial question. Is it a truck stop, travel center, or travel plaza?
Ooh, that one's really tough. All right. So I just stopped at two of them on the trip I just drove from the Bay Area up to the mountains here yesterday. And because, we recently become a member at NATSO, I was actually pulling over at two or three different whatever we're going to call them, on my way up, just to sort of start getting a feel for what the general vibe is there and how we can best service those customers. And literally all three of them had different names. One was so-and-so's stop, one was stop at XYZ Travel Plaza, and the travel center one was also on there. So I'm going to say I will go with Travel Center because I'm not well versed enough in the industry, and that one rolls off the tongue better for me.
They all work. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast and for being a member of NATSO. We, this is always what makes us happy at NATSO when we can find a member that is exactly what our members need, and you can join and we can talk about it, because this is so important that our members are up to date on this, and we're really thankful that you guys have supported the industry as a member.
Well, I gotta ask you guys one wacky question before I let you go, right?
Yeah, sure.
This has all been on me. So, hey, just give me this. What's your favorite restaurant?
P.F. Chang's.
Really? All right. How about you, Amy?
In DC?
Yeah. We're going to be opening up again soon. I got to start getting my list together.
I think I like Matchbox. It's a pizza place in DC.
All right, sold. I will have to go check that out. Yeah, I ask everybody that I talk to that because I've been on a whirlwind tour around the U.S. getting these machines out. So I actually want to go places that locals recommend.
Awesome. All right. Well, thanks for listening to today's episode of The Truck Stops Here. You can find us online at natso.com/podcasts, and you can listen to the podcast on Apple, Google, Spotify, and Stitcher. If you have any questions, we hope you'll reach out to editor@natso.com. All right. Bye, guys.
The Truck Stops Here was brought to you by NATSO, the association representing truck stops and travel centers. Visit natso.com for more information. The Truck Stops Here is produced by NATSO in collaboration with Human Factor. Producers are Amy Toner and Darren Schulte.